Tracy when he comes.
Hello. Hello. Welcome. I think a few people have been directed away from Ticket Taylor, so a few are struggling to get in, but we thought we wouldn't leave you waiting, so that we'd start. And we are recording the session for those that are struggling to get in. So you can guarantee sometimes the things just set against us. I'm going to hand over to our beautiful hostess, Julie.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you, Tracy. Hi everyone. Some of you I know, some of you I don't. So it's always for me the perfect meeting when you have a mix of people. Are you recording, Tracy? Is it working? Yeah. Okay, fine. So thank you all so much for being here. And it was all very short notice, but suddenly really felt actually for me that I've been involved in this space for a long time. Never has it been probably so difficult to work in this space with people from different backgrounds, different communities, trying to bring people together, but also actually it's really very important. So something like the big lunch, which I've been involved with and around for a very long time, this year for me feels not just like a nice to do, but a kind of essential. We need to get as many people as we possibly can to do it because it just works. It always works, as we're going to hear some examples in a bit about why it works and how it works and the kind of things that people can do. And also that it's joined up this year with the big help out, which means that we've got a mix of, people doing food related as well as kind of volunteering and bringing people together over social action. We've got some beautiful people here who do lots of this all year long. And so we're going to hear from some of that as well. So I'm going to actually back over to Tracy to just give us a sort of snapshot of the national kind of picture and some nice slides and things. So sort of sit back and have a look at those, and then we'll come back to some examples in a bit.
Yeah, so welcome everybody. Sadly, I get the science bit, so this is so that you can have an overview. So sorry, I've just seen Buta arrive. Sorry, I'm reading Buta. You'll have seen this before. So I will just put this in presenter mode. Can you tell I'm old? There we go. Right. So we wanted to really talk about that sense of belonging we get, when we're connected to our faith or each other, our homes and our community. And I do genuinely believe in the big lunch and the big help out. And I used to run a neighbourhood approaches to loneliness programme in Yorkshire, in Bradford and in York. And actually we used the big lunch, we used that breaking of bread, that inviting people around the table to reduce loneliness, and it worked. And then I went on to Eden and used to tell the story of how the big lunch reduced loneliness and isolation. And in the end, I saw these people, passionate, community-minded people, all across the UK, all trying to do their bit when they live from all sort of sectors. And I thought, that's a job I want. And I've been lucky to be here for 10 years now, and they haven't realised and got rid of me yet. So this is all about how we can give people permission, give people another reason to come together, meet, eat and connect. And for us, the power of community is vital at Eden to shape our positive future for the planet and ourselves. And that's why we work with communities. Can somebody turn themselves off mute, please? Sorry, turn themselves on mute. Just because it spoils the recording. Thank you. We really believe that bringing people together is vital because we know that we are better equipped to face the challenges when we face them together. We want to build that social capital and that natural capital for our collective future. Encourage those small acts that can have a big impact, and that could just be smiling at somebody one day. That could just be noticing somebody one day. We really want to restore and connect people back with nature and back with one another because we believe it helps people prosper and thrive. And we know, like that community need is growing. It's getting harder and harder. in the communities, the people we know, congregations, groups face huge challenges today, and it really is threatening our individual and community well-being. You've got a cost of living crisis, increased polarisation, rising hate crime, loneliness, mental health, the hollowing of our high streets. And this is all under that big, weighty cloud of war and conflict that just pervades our lives. And our communities are feeling more and more fractured and at risk. Our sector is under increased pressure with the rise in needs, stretched resources, lack of funding opportunities, falling volunteer levels, and literally people's lack of time because they're absolutely on the grindstone all the time. So now is the time to connect our communities, to really, really go out of our comfort zone and really spark that positive action. And we need to celebrate the people who help make the places we love keep going. And that includes you and the people that you work alongside. We want to celebrate that local action. We want to give people the positive news story to tell, the positive memory, the positive connection. So shout about your groups and members and local volunteers. Invite their networks to come in and join you. Of course, we want to promote and ask people to take part in the big lunch because we really do believe it brings people together. It makes new links and it helps keep that relationship. It's a foundation, it's a cornerstone for friendships, relationships, and action. You know, you could host a celebratory big lunch and gather lots of different groups and share with them what you do and make it really feel like a wonderful community moment. Or just do one on your street. I do one in my front yard. Do it where you live. And I think it'd be really nice to partner up and really reach out to other faith groups, community groups, local organisations, businesses, volunteering networks, and invite them in to join in and connect and celebrate. They may not join this year, and they might join next year. They might come at the very last moment. You don't know. But actually, people like you and our community-minded people are a precious resource. And we need to use this moment to value them and connect with them and inspire others to do the same. Now, for those of you who don't know, the big lunch last year, we're in our 18th year this year. We had over 10 million people take part last year, which sounds really, really impressive. But when we think we're nearly about 70 million across the UK, and our dream is that everybody one day will sit down on the same weekend and have lunch with their neighbours, we've got a long way to go, about 60 million. It's all about that sharing food, friendship and fun, about creating that positive shared memory with, you know, where people can connect. We have lots of free resources and content to make it easy for people. And what was amazing was there was over 613,000 Big Lunch organisers. That's people who volunteer their time to put this on where they live or for a group. And over 10 million pound was raised from those big lunches. And that's not raised for us, that stays in local communities or for local causes. We really see, we are independently researched every year, and we really see that it genuinely brings us together. You know, people feel that their community is more inclusive for everybody, and they feel that sense of belonging, that they belong more to their community. And they also have a better understanding of people from different backgrounds. And I just think that's vital, what with the echo chambers that people get stuck in, that we meet people who are different to ourselves. People felt it had a positive impact on their mental health, and 3 in 4 people said it helped them feel less lonely. That's 7 million people felt less lonely across the UK because they were invited and welcomed at a big lunch. It does connect people more to nature, which was a lovely byproduct, a bit like the funding. And it also does start sparking that community action. People come together and they really do think of, oh, wouldn't it be nice to do this? Wouldn't it be nice to do that? And it does spark that community action, which is why we have a network and support that community action for the rest of the year. But it's not just us. We've got the big lunch and the big help out. But actually, this kicks off the whole month of June, which is a month of community. So what we say to people is just do something. If you do something, and there might be something that you could do a big lunch for, be that Neighbourhood Watch Week, Volunteers Week, Great Big Green Week, Have a Grow Week, Loneliness Awareness Week, the Great Get Together. We've got Carers Week, Small Charity Week, Windrush Day, Refugee Week, Care Home Open Week, and Pride. There's a whole month, and all these organisations have come together to say, let's be greater than the sum of our parts and do something during the month of community. Oh, and there they all are. We do have resources that will help. You can find loads of information and ideas and posters and invites and case studies and inspirational stories at thebigdo.com. We've got copy for newsletters, graphics, logos. And if you are a group or a charity and you want to recruit extra people to come support you, or you're looking for new volunteers, then you can actually go on to Govo and upload opportunities there that might have a greater reach. So the big lunch out and the big help out are all coming together for a long weekend in June. So from the 5th to the 8th, so from Friday to the Monday, and it's within the month of community and at the end of Volunteers Week. And we're really trying to create this sense of one big do and asking people, what will you do? Do you know, will you go to a barbecue with neighbours, or do a litter pick for a good cause for a day, or go volunteer somewhere you wouldn't know? So we really are encouraging people to get involved. I think I've already done that. Got that twice. We've also got loads of resources for primary schools and secondary schools. So if you do know any, then please share these. We did an amazing live lesson from the biome, which has a beautiful story and well worth any sort of primary age child and their family sitting down to have a watch. And we also have a charity partnership with the Co-op, who are helping us in many ways with their activators. So if you've got a local co-op near you, do go see them and see whether they're able to support. And we're giving people a chance to win a £20 co-op voucher if they put their event on the map, so that people can really see that groundswell of positivity to really counteract that negativity that is going on around the world. So I just want to thank you very much. And I'm going to stop sharing. Now we've done the science bit, you can actually get to look at people's human faces. And I hope that was helpful and give you a nice overview.
Yeah, thanks very much, Tracy. Sorry, apologies, I'm on my phone because my laptop failed me, so I can't actually see everyone, but I know that you're all there.
Yeah,
I forgot to
know Raymond's not joined yet.
Fine, thank you. I forgot to say that my name's Julie Siddiqui, and I live in Slough. I'm very much involved with the work in my local area, but also have been involved in the kind of interfaith work, cohesion, for a very long time now, and yeah, do all sorts of work with different communities, and absolutely love the Big Lunch and Eden Project and all of what it does, and I've been involved for a very long time with all of that as well. I'm now going to actually hand over to Stuart, who I've known also for a long time, and very much respect what he does. And I heard him on a webinar recently, and he was completely brilliant. So I thought he has to come and speak to us on here as well. And has done a lot of, he's walked the walk, not just talk the talk. So it's very important that we have people who've done stuff, but also has lots of great ideas, and is also very realistic about what might be possible for people without getting people to overthink. So Stuart, my dear friend, over to you.
Not quite sure who you were introducing, but nonetheless, I'll take it. Thank you, Julie. And in many ways, it's amazing to be on a call with Julie and Lindsay and Josh and Mark, people I kind of know. So it's a bit odd talking about why I believe what we do is important. Yeah, I'm passionate about interfaith. I'm passionate about social cohesion. I was telling Tracy and Julie, I now work at a Jewish community center in Brighton and Hove. And today I spent literally pretty much most of the morning changing codes on locks. And it's got me kind of thinking, like, what are these locks really doing? Am I keeping people in? Am I keeping the residents and the community locked inside? Or am I not allowing anybody to come into the center? And I think projects like the Big Help Out and the Big Lunch and many, many others, one national project that I was involved with for nearly 3 years, allows people the opportunity, I would say ordinary people, a simple and easy way to connect with no pressure of having to come back week after week. It's a once-off. I always say that I hope in many ways that the event itself, if curated and thought through correctly, creates this ripple effect, a ripple effect of interest, a ripple effect of maybe I'm going to come back to that meeting or that interfaith group or volunteer my time in that charity. And that's why it's so important to do an event that I always say that you're passionate about. And so in a past lifetime, when people said to me, but Stuart, like, oh, it's so much work. And do we have to have lots of people attending the event? And what am I going to do? And how am I going to? I would say, well, let's sit down. What is your community passionate about? Now, Tracy showed a slide with many causes. We are flooded by social justice work. We are flooded by causes. For me, the one thing that I'm passionate about is the role of faith in actually solving so many of the issues we face today and seeing people live their faith in action, that ability to take bits of their faith and go find things. So the first trick I always say is find something you're passionate about, whether that's the environment, whether that's about refugees, whether it's about food provision, whether that's about the homelessness. Find something that your community is passionate about. Once you've got a project that you identify with, it's easier to bring everybody and put them on the bus to go on the journey with you. The next thing I'll say is don't worry about numbers. It's not about whether your project is going to get 500 people or only 10 people around the table. It's always about who is in the room and what do those people that are in the room, what do they bring? And so I think, Tracy, you said it in your slide. I'm like looking at some notes I took. Small acts. Small acts make big changes, and it takes ordinary people, makes them extraordinary. And so that's what I'd say is find a project you love, find the people that you know are interested, and you could get in the room. So I've kind of spoke about small acts. I've spoke about the need for communities finding projects that they're passionate about. I've addressed, I think, the role of communities, especially faith communities. Setting up the project is important. Making sure you have a team of individuals around you and you know what each person is going to bring. So, for example, if you're doing a lunch table, who's setting up the table? Who's bringing the napkins? Who's bringing the balloons? What are you going to cook? What are you going to bring to the table? I will say just one tip. If your table is something around interfaith, I would always say get people of different faiths to bring different foods of their faith to the table. Why? Because it's a conversation starter. Oh, tell me, what is this gefilte fish that you're putting? Oh, my Boba and Zeta, my granny and grandpa in Eastern Europe. Oh, these samosas, why are they made this way? They're puffy, not crispy. Like, oh, that trifle, I've never tasted it like that. I always urge people, put things around your table that are going to be conversation starters. The whole point of the big lunch, in my viewpoint, is finding each other's humanity. So if you're doing a table, think of ways that you could create things on your table that could start a conversation. The other thing is cue cards. Have a little starter on everybody's table. Maybe an idea of, I don't know, why did you come today? What's your favorite recipe? Something that you think could start a conversation. Tell me a story about what community means to you. All of a sudden, when you start sharing these stories, there's light bulb moments. Oh my God, community. Like, oh my God, this is why I'm here. This is why it's important. So again, setting your table, making sure your guests feel comfortable. The other piece I always say to these events is welcome. I'm a big believer in radical hospitality. Now, people say to me, Stuart, but you're not so firm. You don't go to shul every Saturday morning. You're always outside doing CST. I say, if we truly believe in Abraham and Sarah and this concept of opening up the 10 flaps, then you've got to make sure that your table is one with radical hospitality, that all your visitors feel welcomed. So have somebody around that table who's going to be a greeter, a meter and a greeter. Walk around and go, how's it, Jacob? So lovely to be there. That's also reminded me, have name badges. It's a lovely way so that people can actually identify. You might want to ask people to write their pronouns down so that you get it right, so you don't offend anybody, and maybe to ask them what their faith is. They might not have a faith. They might be an individual of belief or no faith. So again, thinking around, welcoming, who's at the table, what you're doing, how do you get conversations started. I've got a friend on this call, Josh, who taught me so much during my time at this charity about storytelling. Never miss an opportunity to get a great photo of people together, especially doing an activity, eating some food together. But most importantly, Josh always taught me, if you could get somebody away from the table to film them, to have a couple of questions in your head, what you're doing is building your social media and your media content and material. Because remember, what you're doing at this event is you're practicing that muscle of welcome, that muscle of maybe of interfaith. The big lunch and the big help out is another opportunity in a year's worth of calendar of events to practice that activity of getting together, of doing, of meeting and having a stranger at your table, or learning to sit in maybe some level of productive discomfort. So Josh always told me, get a good quote, get a good photo, get a good video. That's going to help you, because Tracy spoke about those resources. Later, you're going to need something to put in your press statement, or you're going to want to put something in your social media. If you haven't thought about getting that quote or that photo, you're going to go, oh no, I missed the opportunity. We all talk a lot about, and Tracy mentioned, we hear a lot about the negative stories. In many ways, I'm glad that I haven't gone onto Sky or BBC or any of those. I've kind of missed what's happened with the voting today. We all know the world we live in. This is a great opportunity to get good stories. And so one of the next things I've got on my thing is, before your event, start building relationships with your local media or the media. Find out who's your local community newspaper. Have you emailed them to tell them that this event's taking place? Have you possibly even extended an invitation so that they can come and sit around that table to see positive interfaith, positive social cohesion in action? Often the press don't get these opportunities to watch what we do every day, all day long. So it's great that Lindsay and Julie, who did that March in Gold is Green, got the press there so that that story was told. Because if that wasn't there, no one would even know that it happened. So make sure that you've invited the press, that you've kind of thought your social media out both pre and post event. What are you trying to sell to people to get them to come? And after the event, what story do you want them to share? Resources, Tracy, well done. You've got tons of resources. But if you go on websites like the Interfaith Week's website or Mitzvah Day's website, most kind of charities have these resources of building projects. And I'm sure, Tracy, you could put kind of a whole list. I'm happy to help you put a list together of ideas of projects that you can do. I think just to say, the social action bit is no different. Please find a project that you think people are interested in. There's no use doing a project supporting refugees when your community actually want to go out into a local field and clean up or plant bulbs. You're going to miss the point. People are going to be bored and uninterested. Mark's another one from Barnet who does great events when it comes to nature and the environment. And I would also say, reach out to your colleagues. Reach out to people who work in the space, who've done really good projects before. Jump online and read testimonies and reports to see what people have done. I think for me, the main thing is picking the right event, finding the right people to work with you to put it together. And then the other thing is making sure that you also curate a really good guest list. Invite your local ward councillor, reach out to your local faith leaders, reach out to your MPs, make sure that people of influence are there and ask them to be tagged in posts to share kind of the events out. I think for me, what the great help out and the big lunch does, gives people an opportunity to come together in a time when all of us are being pushed to the margins, where many communities are choosing to stay rather insular and away from events. And so I'm like Julie and Tracy, I'm very happy if people want to ask me some questions or things I may have done in the past. But for me, it's really about planning, picking the right event, curating a good guest list, getting all that good information that you can then create a good story, ensuring that you bring the media and the press on with you with the journey, and inviting your neighbors, looking who lives close to you. I've just started walking home every day from work, and there's a new church. There's a Coptic church. It's brand new. It's in the community. And I walked into the church and said, welcome to the neighborhood. A simple welcome goes a long way. And whatever you do, do it with radical hospitality, with love and with warmth and with kindness. And you'll see that these projects have their own way of kind of growing year on year. Start small. You don't have to start big. That would be my main takeaway to everybody. Is if you've never done a project before, start small. And I know a lot of people, especially those on the call, might say, we do this every day and all the time. It's fine. Rather do something small than doing nothing. And good luck with your projects. I'm happy to help.
Thank you so much, Stuart. And what you heard there, folks, if you haven't heard Stuart before, is someone who's done it for a long time, and that was very much an experienced person talking there. And what I will say is that for people who are here who aren't as experienced, don't worry about, all of those different aspects, because Stuart was just giving you a good overview. There are people here who are very experienced and some who are less so. And what we want to try and get across is just do something. Don't imagine that anything is too small or no idea is too small. And even if it's about inviting a couple of people in, all of it has an impact. And it could be that you're not going to get the press involved and get your MP, but you are going to invite the neighbours that literally live on your street that you suddenly realise you don't know their name. We're in an epidemic of loneliness. Let's not forget, not just about the news cycle that we find ourselves being overwhelmed by, but people are struggling. I heard someone say recently that this is the loneliest, the young generation now is the loneliest we've ever had. And I feel, it's very sad when you hear that young people are feeling that, but they really are. So I think there's just something that we all have a responsibility to do. And I certainly feel very overwhelmed, even at the thought of the local elections today. I must say, because I think in some places it's not going to be good what I'd like it to be. So I think that the really good thing about something like the big lunch and the big help out, and there's lots of others, as Tracy mentioned, is that it just gives us an excuse and a moment and a permission and all of these tools and things, and to know that we're doing something and lots of other people are doing it at the same time. And really my role with the Tracy and this team, amazing team that already do so much, is to just try and encourage people to stretch a bit and do something maybe they haven't done. Invite people in that you don't know, definitely sort of cross those, if you like, boundaries, that imaginary boundaries that people put in between us, like this group of people don't get on with that group of people, Muslims don't like Jews, Sikhs don't like it, just all that stuff that we hear about. We just need to back that away by doing the invites, and really just keeping it simple, if that's all we need, but just do something is what I would say. I just want to pause at this point and ask anyone who's here, if you've got a question or any suggestions or thoughts or anything you'd like to share before I carry on. And any of you who are already planning on doing something, please feel free to share what those ideas might be. Anyone got anything?
I think you might have terrified people. I just wanted to draw on that permission aspect and humanity. So when I did a lot around loneliness, we would talk about the permission of snow. So the permission of snow would actually give people time and a reason for their humanity to come to the fore, for them to check in on their neighbours. It's like fire, flood, terrorist acts. Do you know what I mean? You see an outpouring of humanity. But when the snow dissipates or the flood dissipates, so does that level of humanity. Do you know? So we wondered why some bonds are made. So not all of it. I don't want to do that, but it goes. And that's where the research comes about. Actually, when people come together and share a positive experience, that's where things tend to build from. But the thing about the permission of snow is snow helps you identify those people that have had no footprints that go up to their door. Do you know, it helps you target those people who might not have any help and support. And I think that's one of our biggest challenges. And actually, if we invite everybody to the table, you will find those people, do you know, without sort of having a conversation. And what we find as well with the big lunch, if we do it where people live or people open their doors, especially if it's out in the open, the fact that it's out in the open really reduces those threshold barriers, do you know, of going through a door, going into a building, going into a space, and actually people can see it and sort of judge it from afar before they get involved. And I think so I have a beautiful back garden, but always do my big lunch in the front yard so that people can see it, and so that people can see what they come into and that they know people, because you can't see around the corner from my house. not at all that I don't want my lovely garden spoiled. So I just thought I'd share that.
Thank you so much for that. So I did have someone coming, but he did say that he might not be able to make it. So it looks like he hasn't been able to make it. Josh, yes, go for it. I was going to come to you anyway, so it's good that you put your hand up.
Thing is, I've been name checked without permission.
Yeah.
For context, Stuart and I worked together when he was CEO of Mitzvah Day. I was working with them on their social media, so that's my background. But now I'm with the Movement for Progressive Judaism. We are obviously involved in almost all the things you mentioned, including as well on top of that, which is the relevance of what I'm about to say, Jewish Culture Month, is that there's so much already going on in our 77 communities across the country that one of the things that we're suggesting is that people can badge existing activities as part of whatever it might be, a Million Acts of Hope or Big Lunch, Big Do, because they're already doing a lot of things and they don't necessarily need to start something new, especially if they're already having a Friday night dinner, for example, in their community. If it's the week before this, just move it a week later and then badge it as the big lunch, even though it's Friday night dinner. So there are ways of, instead of starting something new, which can be really difficult, and then you have to advertise for a new thing and it's a whole situation, something you can do is just badge it, which is what we're doing for a lot of things, because firstly, there are 77 communities and they're all doing loads of things and it's quite hard to know everything that's happening. But equally, it is a lot easier because these things are happening. At the same time, we are going to work with a few communities to do something specific and new that they weren't already doing to give us a little bit of an extra boost.
Yeah.
So
perfect.
Once we know exactly what that is, we'll come back and let people know. And then if there are people on this call who want to be part of it, then we can do that.
Amazing.
Oh,
Perfect. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Josh. And if there's anything going up near Carlisle, do let me know. And I just wanted to say as well, we want a big do on the weekend, and more the merrier. But to be honest, as long as people are doing it, do you know, that's what's really important. So if they want to keep that event the week before on the Friday, still badge it. Do you know what I mean? If that's the thing, because the most important thing for us is that it happens, not that, it's nice. What it does when we all do it on the same weekend is give people that sense of being part of something bigger. Do you know, and that's the sort of story. But for me as well, that local contact is really, really important. So as long as it happens. And I should have said, and I've done our funders a disservice, that we're actually, we used to be funded by the lottery, and that ended. And actually it was the Pears Foundation that came in to support this project because they recognised the importance of keeping, they've been our friends for years, the importance of staying in our communities and giving people reasons to come together. So that was really important. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Tracy. Thanks a lot. So Stuart and then Mark.
Yeah, I was going to say to Josh's point 100%. I think a lot of people go, oh, I'm so busy, I'm doing so much. Like, we've got to something and forget it, I'm not going to do it. Like, badge it up. It doesn't really matter. Like, if you badge it up on a regular event, I mean, I know this for a fact, like Mitzvah Day always, it came in November, people were doing projects. It's like, you want me to create another thing, but we're already doing this thing. It's fine. Put the badge on. I always say it kind of gives it, it's like those kosher stamps or like food stamps or whatever. It kind of lifts, it can lift a regular event to kind of another level, which brings more people's interest in. So like, badge it, shout about it that you're joining. What you might get, like even in your progressive community, is 5 new people who go, I never really wanted to do it, but I like this concept of the big lunch, and maybe there are other new faces. I'm gonna do it. So I'm a big believer. Badge it, promote it. You are going to put in some new faces, some new, what I call uniques.
Yeah, very good. Mark.
Can you hear me? I'm off mute. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Hi everyone. And I will pick up with Stuart just there. The conversation we've had in Barnet over the last few years, is there too much in the diary, too little? Are we spreading ourselves too thin? Are we starting things and not tending to green shoots that were already there and needing the extra? So this one for the big lunch from me has been sort of encapsulated that dilemma. I actually registered a little one last year in a part of Barnet that had never done one before.
Mm.
And we did align it. It wasn't straight from scratch. We aligned it with an event that I'd applied for London Festival for Architecture accreditation on, and it was a community that's sort of experiencing trouble, not on a high level. As we all know, Barnet at the moment's got some quite major interfaith issues, but this was more to do with housing and deprivation. And June the 7th last year, whenever it wasn't the sunniest of days, certainly not in our part of the world, and people didn't exactly roll out their mats on the carpet and sit down. But the conversations did start, and the canvas that the Big Lunch concept provided still got even without the proper picnic, it did get the conversations about these negative issues alongside practical responses to them. And so I did apply again for repeating it this year. Different part of Barnet, Colindale in the west has got a big spotlight on it this year for various reasons. One of which is the London Festival of Architecture has chosen it as a neighbourhood, and various other things to do with the council are quite live there at the moment. And the third component was arts and culture. So I'm interested. You got these three meetings for Even Project. Last night you had the community call on Big Lunch, and Monday you're doing one particularly about arts and culture. So this year there was a bit of funding to do some work bringing together latent potential within the community. So grassroots arts and culture, and that all might sound a bit random and disparate, but that is a Big Lunch that's now got to apologise, not on your map yet. Got to register it, but it is. We have committed to it. It's happening on the Saturday, on the 6th of June. So Lindsay and Julie, if you're in the neighbourhood, Stuart, please book a ticket that day. Come back to Barnet. But obviously that is the other problem with Big Lunch. There's going to be lots of things going on the same day.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. And yes, there are in some areas and some not so. So that's the point of this, to sort of try and, as you say, build on what's already there, invite new people in. I think one thing I would say is, for those of us that have kind of been involved with this stuff a long time, is not to assume that, of course, other people are, and always just extend that invitation, because, you know, even just having one extra person, someone who's never been involved before, someone who feels motivated right now. I mean, one of the things I would say, for those that don't know, Lindsay and I, as was alluded to earlier, organised a Women's Walk of Solidarity last week in Golders Green on the back of the attacks that happened the day before. And I think, you know, we had about 150 women came just within very short notice. But I think the overwhelming thing that they said was, we just felt like we needed to do something. We wanted to do something. Thanks for creating a space that felt a bit more nuanced and wasn't quite this way or that way, and just somewhere where you could gather with good people. So, you know, it was quite moving in that way, but not to assume that, you know, people wouldn't have known what to do otherwise. And it's a little bit like this, you know, if you create a space, people, you know, have an excuse to come, and that permission thing is very, very important and can make a lot of difference. And almost by cue, Lindsay, over to you. Do your hand up.
Well, it's just that we've had several references to you and me, and I don't know quite a lot of you, so I just wanted to say hello, really. I was encouraged by Julie to join you today, because I have not been part of this project before. So I just really wanted to say hi. Thanks for having me. And I'm looking forward to hopefully joining your spectacular project. So thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for coming. Has anyone else got any other questions, or anyone thinking of doing an event and wants some help? Shazia, go for it.
Are you on mute, Shazia?
That's it.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Shazia, and thank you very much for having me. And I following Julie on LinkedIn, and I got the chance to see Julie and hug her on the Interfaith Summit. in Reading University. And yeah, you do remember me?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel very much grateful to everyone. And being a new CIC and Social Enterprises Healing Hands Hub, I got some idea that yes, we can organize that small lunch, because at the moment we are doing creative well-being session in primary school with the mothers. And during this meeting, I got an idea, why not we can do on the creative way for the big lunch. And we can arrange that in the same place where we are running the creative session with the mothers.
Yeah,
and hopefully I will get some good things to share with you all. And let's see.
Amazing.
We will get the permission from the school, and we will make some structure to organize this event in creative way.
Very good.
Oh,
Sounds
Shazia,
great.
I will pop the link to that story that we did from the biomes, because it's perfect for the children and for the mums. So it's all about all the animals of the rainforest coming together to help out each other and having a big lunch. It's just really sweet, and just another way of doing that storytelling.
Wow.
But
Thank
Shazia,
you.
yes. Shazia, I'll be in touch with you as well.
Yes, please.
But thank you for coming. And also, it's a very good example of how, with you've already have a captive audience, as has been mentioned already, and just sort of doing it slightly and thinking, oh yeah, actually, this is another way for you to do something with those women, but also then potentially invite a couple of other people, teachers, or someone else from who can start to see what it is that you're doing. And there there's also a very nice element if you can get people making the lunch together. Some of the very kind of simple ways of combining this would be people are eating together, and before that they make the food together, or they cut the sandwiches, or they do the thing. And that was that's something that I've seen work really well. And again, when people are doing stuff together, so like you say, in a creative way or in a whatever way, it's sort of less obvious. It's just you're doing stuff and it really works. You sort of people connect heart to heart then in a really lovely way. So yeah, it's really great to have you here. Buta.
Yes. Thank you.
Shazia. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Buta Ratwal. I'm from an organisation called HKL, which stands for Humility, Kindness and Love.
Lovely.
Tracy and I met because she was a speaker at our last conference, and what we're trying to do is promote, I think, the essence of the big lunch as a part of our charity, which is kind of show our humility, kindness and love to everyone, just by saying hello, just by inviting them in, just by showing acts of kindness on your daily life. And the big lunch was a collaborative event that we kind of assimilated in our conference, because it kind of was the essence of what we're trying to do. And we're really proud that Tracy was a part of it, and B, we branded our lunchtime with the big lunch, and it was very, very successful. What we're trying to do next, we've now put a charity section to the HKL team, which I was voted team leader, to my disgust. And what we are trying to do a big lunch element to the HKL activity now. And one idea that was suggested that we'll be following up in our next meeting is we've got a number of associated Sikh temples, HKL teams who are associated with those Sikh temples across the world, in India, Canada, America, obviously, etc. And to pick a day, around either the 6th, 7th, 3rd, 8th, and in all those gurdwaras, we obviously do a free langar every day, but then brand one of those, and then promote it across all those countries. So that's something that we're going to we're hopefully planning to do, but it's an embryo of an idea right now, and any help anybody can give us just to move that forward, we'd appreciate. And any opportunity to spread that HKL, but also bring in people, because what we find when people do come in to places of worship, their loneliness kind of disappears, because they can help. I mean, if you know a Sikh temple, not only do we make our own food, we serve it, we wash the pots, we eat together, it's a one big space, and we find that lonely people then stick because they want to be involved in the whole process, because it's a place where they feel comfortable and they can repeat actions without having too many questions asked, but also it's a safe space for them to come and be involved. So we want to broaden that away from just the Sikh community to all communities, and I think that was something that could then be replicated across not just the HKL community, but a wider community as well.
Beautiful, Bhuta. I wonder if anybody wants to connect with Bhuta. Are you based Birmingham, Bhuta?
I'm personally based in what I call Derby or Barbados.
Okay, Barbados.
It's always sunny in Barbados, as you can see over my shoulder. The charity that I'm particularly involved in is actually based in Walsall.
Okay.
That's the kind of the registered charity, but it is countrywide. It is worldwide. We've got over 70 countries involved in HKL right now, so that is actively registered to our website and being involved in our daily activities. What are those daily activities? It's actually something that connects you with yourself. So, for example, this week's daily activity is to close your eyes, focus between your eyes, and just let your mind stop and focus on just nothingness and away from the daily routine, and do that as many times as you can throughout the day. And what that does, it allows you to center yourself, and it allows you to create that space between that pressure of life to almost where you need to be, is back to being a soulful being. And it's those simple techniques that we're trying to promote, because as soon as we wrap it in religion, people say, I'm not Jewish, I'm not Muslim, I'm not Sikh, I'm not this, I'm not. But we all should be humble, kind, loving as people. And then Dale came out of that, because how can I put it, religion can be used by a lot of people to show hate, not the people who practice the religion, but people who are trying to sow hate. But it's hard to argue that we all shouldn't be humble, kind and loving. You can argue that, then you're a better man or a better person than me, because that's the essence of our souls, the essence of our societies, the essence of all religions, as the essence of all communities. And this is something that we're trying to promote. We have had 6 conferences in 2 years. As I say, the conference that we held, that Tracy was one of our speakers, had 250,000 online presence on the day. 2,000 people attend. We fed all those 2,000 people with a free lunch, which, as I said, was branded the Big Lunch. We have now the next conference in Toronto. The previous one was in Sydney. The previous one to that was in India. So you can see we've been in Italy. We are trying to just promote this HKL activity and allow people to gather around something that is hard to argue that we should be or shouldn't be. So
amazing. Thank you so much for that. And I was there as well, and it was amazing. And it's a beautiful thing when you feed people. And I think the gurdwaras and how you do langar and the point of it, and is a really beautiful, you sort of top of the tree in my head in terms of that feeding and you know, the hospitality side, I think, is amazing. So anyone who hasn't been to a Gurdwara and experienced that, I'd really highly recommend it.
So Julie, just one additional point. If you look at the amount of now, not just loneliness, but people who can't provide for themselves,
yeah,
comes to eating. Students, for example, we find what populations coming to a Gurdwara who are not for religion, but they're fed. And it's sad that is the case, but it's beautiful that they feel that can come to a place of worship.
Yeah, it is.
No questions asked, but they can stand with an empty plate and it will get filled, and they'll get fed morning, afternoon and evening, and they can focus on other things other than where can I go for food.
Amazing.
That sense of kindness, and who serve the food, as I say, it's a service they enjoy as well. So, you know,
amazing. Beautiful thing. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. It's really lovely. Raul, lovely to see you again here.
Hi, oh, sorry, you're gonna have to excuse my voice. I just came from being sick a couple of days ago, so apologies for that. I'm also not familiar with everyone here. I am familiar with Julie, though. I did meet her very recently, and you know, it was lovely seeing her and lovely speaking to her as well. So essentially, my question is, actually, let me give you a little introduction. I'm a young professional. I'm 20 years old, 21 very soon, birthday month, and I'm trying to strive into not just, you know, the professional career side, but also I'm trying to help students, because, you know, I remember myself as a student and how it is now, especially in this generation. You know, you finish your education, you finish your studies, and majority of the time when you finish university, it's kind of hard to get into the degree that you studied for. And at the end of the day, people then start thinking, oh, like I just wasted my time at university. And then, you know, that doesn't look good for the younger generation, because they're going to look at it and see, oh, why should I go into uni if I'm not going to get the jobs that I want to? So, you know, obviously there are different pathways now. Obviously, the apprenticeships, which is what I'm doing at the moment. You know, you can go straight into work, and you know, I don't think there's a wrong answer. At the end of the day, you do what your passion lies in. So I'm from Levanton, which is very underrepresented, and a lot of the, you know, the younger people here, you know, they say to me, "Oh, I mean, what's the point of going into education? Because I'm not going to get far anyways. I'm from Levanton. There's nothing really here, and the people that have the jobs here either have, you know, somebody in there that they know, or it's people that are experienced, which is quite saddening, because you think, you know, people give up too early. So you know, me and a few people from Levanton, we're trying to run something where we kind of give advice to these students, and you know, show them there's more to it than just like giving up early. So for these post 16 options, and to be fair, how for a young person as myself, obviously I've never been involved in, you know, sort of charity or running an event. So my question is, for someone as myself, or for this, you know, the start off, what would be the best way to kind of get into it, and what would be the best things to kind of look out for, and you know, really help these students, something that they can take away and think, you know, I learned something from this, and I want to start doing something straight on from it.
Thank you so much, Raul. Stuart, have you got an answer to that?
I think he has.
I'll tell you a story. A very long time ago, I was a politician in South Africa, and I was doing a trading plan for market traders on a square called the Grand Parade. And we did this presentation, and I went in, I was dressed in a suit, and I did the presentation. The slides were great, and it just never landed. And I couldn't understand why. And one of the stall holders came up to me and said to me, you know, councillor, the biggest problem is you went with your team and you designed something because you thought what we wanted. Actually, the truth is nothing for us without us. And I've actually carried that message with me, nothing for us without, in everything I've done. And so when we decided in South Africa to start a football club, the first thing we did is we went to the community and said, well, what do you want the football club to look like? What do you want its ethos to be? What do you want us to do around membership and acceptance? And so what I would say to you, Raul, is if you know 10 young people that are looking for something, I'd bring them in a room and I'd ask them, what is it that you want? What could we build? I would bring them as co-builders, co-collaborators to building something. Because often what you'll find out is you'll find what they want and how they want to do it. And actually that will be the seed to start a project. And I would say start small and you just keep building and you keep building. We started Grassroots Football Club with 2 teams. Today, Grassroots Football Club has 14 teams. We've got over 350 members, co-ed, boys and girls, across. I would say speak to your constituents, speak to those young people and hear what it is that they want and then design from there. Don't do it the other way around. That's just my tip. Happy to help you. You can reach out to me anytime. Happy to help.
Thank you ever so much. I will connect with you later on.
Thanks, Stuart. Josh, and then Dieter.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say almost exactly what Stuart said, but also to say, Raoul, if we connect after, I can connect you to our student engagement officer who is very experienced in all this and particularly working with students who travels around the country doing basically getting people together to do things. So it'd be worthwhile you having a conversation with him. And if there are Jewish students where you are, then it's a great way to kind of link up and do something together. That would be perfect. So I'll shoot you a LinkedIn request and then we'll be in touch.
That would be amazing. Thank you, Josh.
Amazing.
No worries.
Thanks, Josh.
My advice, I've got a daughter of a similar age and she's going through something very, very similar. And I'm happy to say she's just got a job. So what my advice to her was pull together with your friends to show the experience that you've got. So what do I mean? Create a website, do some publicity, show your skills. Because if people want experience, show the experience. Don't tell them what you've got, show them what you've got, because that then builds your skills and then hones your skills in line with your customer who's going to be your future employer. And if you look at as an employer to say, what does that employer's ethos require, or the types of employers that you want to go, and build your skills that answer that question, then you've got something even without experience to show your experience. So that's something that my advice to my daughter, and I'm pleased to say not just that advice, but her hard work and effort, starts then talking to employers in their way, in their language, and something that they would appreciate, which shows your skills.
Thank you, Dieter. And I'm really mindful of time, but Raoul, I just thought, even if you can't get a group of 10, get a couple of people. Do you know? So when I moved into this village, I was called an Ofcomner. I don't think I can even say it properly. And I was just like, I work for the Big Lunch, which is a really good excuse. But I got a couple of neighbours, because there's a new person coming in going, let's do this thing. They'd all be like, who do you think you are? So I got a couple of the neighbours who were already there and going, I do this for the living. Do you think it's something we'd want? And at first people were saying, everybody knows each other here. And they do, because there's only 30 houses. It's a far cry from Bradford. But they have no way to connect or meet. It's on a crossroads. And actually, when we did it, that neighbour had not seen that neighbour for nearly 16 years. And he asked his wife, do you know who's that? Do you know? But they knew that they lived there, do you know? But their paths never crossed. So even if it's just a couple of people, don't do it alone. Get those ideas, get those things. I think that was great advice.
Thank you, Tracy.
Perfect. And Raoul, you're doing the right thing, which is what you did at that event when we met as well, which is to be proactive and bold and just come and speak. And you'll find, as you've seen already, that people want to help you, and you'll be fine. You'll go a long way, and you've got the right head on your shoulders and the right intention, so that all of that counts. But definitely use this Big Lunch, because the great thing about the Big Lunch, big help out, is that it's a very credible kind of project in that sense, right? The royals are involved, and celebrities are involved, and faith groups are involved, and all sorts of people are involved. And by doing something small, you then become part of the big. So we always say it doesn't all have to be big. So even if you did 3-4 of you doing something, or inviting a person, or doing something, you can legitimately say we're part of this thing. That in itself is great experience for you. It's great on your CV, but also it just is good for you, because then you connect with others, and you'll find that the magic will just start to happen from there. So we'll keep in touch. I'll connect you up as Josh said, meet on LinkedIn, etc. But well done. Thanks for raising that. And I'm just conscious of time. So thanks everyone for being here. It's a beautiful gathering. We had more than double the amount of people signed up that are actually here. But having been involved in this stuff a long time, a bit like Stuart said earlier, I never worry about numbers because I just firmly believe that the people that are meant to be here are here, and the people that are not meant to be here are not meant to be here. And I can honestly tell you, looking over my screen, a beautiful gathering of random people, you know, comes together and does an amazing thing in 1 hour. So even just this meeting was worth every minute that we took to just pull it together. But I want to thank all of you for coming, for showing some interest. And I hope that all of you will do something, doesn't matter what it is, and keep in touch with us and let us know what you're doing and let us know if you need any help. And we look forward to hearing all about it. And I'll be in touch, or we'll be in touch. Take care, everyone.
Thank you,
so much.
Julie, as
Bye.
well for
Thank you.
hosting
Thank
so
you.
well. Thank you.
Take care,
Thank you,
everyone. Take care.
everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Julie. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Shazia. Take care. Thanks, Cully. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Well, I'll just end the event.
Mm-hmm.